Right now, someone is manipulating you, and you have absolutely no idea it is happening. Every time you buy something online, every time you tip more than you planned, every time you agree to something you were about to say no to, there is a hidden psychological trigger being pulled. And the scariest part? It works almost every single time. A psychologist named Robert Cialdini spent years going undercover into sales training programs, car dealerships, and even cult recruitment centers to figure out exactly how people get manipulated into saying yes. What he found were 7 invisible weapons of influence being used on you every single day. Today we are breaking down the 10 most powerful lessons from his book, Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion. And once you see these tricks, you will never unsee them. I'm the scholar, and this is how the world actually works beneath the surface. Let's pull back the curtain. Lesson 1. The Rule of Reciprocity. When someone gives you something, a gift, a sample, even a compliment, something clicks in your brain. You feel like you owe them. Cialdini calls this reciprocity, and it is hardwired into every culture on Earth. Here is a real experiment from the book. A waiter gave diners a single mint with the check. Tips went up 3%. 2 mints? Tips jumped 14%. But when the waiter gave 1 mint, started to walk away, then turned back and said, "You know what? Here is an extra mint just for you," tips exploded by 23%. Same 2 mints. Completely different framing. That is the power of a gift that feels personal and unexpected. This is exactly why companies give you free trials and free samples. They are not being generous. They are triggering the oldest debt system in human psychology. Nothing is free.
Lesson 2. Commitment and consistency.
Once you say yes to something small, your brain will fight to stay consistent with that decision. This is why car dealers start with a test drive. Once you have sat in those leather seats and imagined yourself pulling into work, you have already said yes psychologically. Cialdini calls this the foot in the door technique. Get someone to agree to a tiny request first, then escalate. During the Korean War, Chinese captors used this on American prisoners. They did not start with torture. They started by asking soldiers to write down one small thing that was not perfect about America. Just one sentence. From there, soldiers gradually wrote full essays critical of their own country, not because they were brainwashed overnight, but because each small yes made the next yes feel consistent. The defense? Recognize when your past commitment is being used as a cage. Small yes equals big yes.
Lesson 3. Social proof.
When you do not know what to do, you look around and copy everyone else. This is survival software built into your brain. Ever notice that laugh tracks on sitcoms make you laugh more, even when the jokes are terrible?
That is social proof. The crowd is laughing, so your brain says, "This must be funny."
Cialdini found a disturbing example in emergency situations. When one bystander witnessed someone having a seizure, help came 85% of the time.
But when 5 bystanders were present, help came only 31% of the time.
Everyone assumed someone else would handle it. This is the bystander effect. Social proof at its most deadly. Just because everyone is doing something does not mean it is right. Lesson 4. Authority. You trust people who look like they know what they are talking about.
A person in a lab coat tells you to take a pill. You take the pill.
Cialdini references the Milgram experiment where ordinary people were told by a man in a lab coat to administer painful electric shocks to a stranger. 65% of them went all the way to maximum voltage. Not because they were evil, but because an authority figure told them to. This is why every toothpaste commercial features a dentist, why every supplement ad has a doctor.
The defense? Ask yourself, is this person an actual expert, or are they just dressed like one?
Lab coat not equal to truth. Lesson 5. Liking. We say yes to people we like. That sounds obvious, But what is not obvious is how easily liking can be manufactured. Cialdini found 3 triggers. First, similarity. We like people who are like us. Same hometown, same interests. Salespeople find common ground in the first 60 seconds. Second, compliments. Even fake ones work. Your brain cannot help but feel warm toward whoever just said something nice. Third, association. Brands hire attractive celebrities, so you associate the product with a person you admire. Be aware of why you like someone before you let that feeling drive your decisions. Lesson 6. Scarcity. People want what they cannot have. The less available something is, the more valuable it feels.
Cialdini describes a famous cookie experiment.
Identical cookies in 2 jars. One jar had 10, the other had 2. People rated the cookies from the nearly empty jar as significantly tastier. Same exact cookie. Scarcity made it taste better. And when researchers removed 8 cookies from a full jar while people watched, the perceived value went through the roof. Something that was available and then became scarce is the most powerful version of this trigger. This is why airlines show you only 2 seats left at this price. Your brain panics and switches into "I need this now" mode. Less equals more.
Lesson 7. Unity.
This is the 7th principle Cialdini added in later editions. Unity goes beyond liking. It is not about similarity. It is about shared identity. We are most influenced by people we consider one of us: family, tribe, religion, nationality. When someone says we are in this together, your defenses drop. Politicians use this constantly: us versus them. Our people.
Apple does not sell phones. Apple sells membership into a tribe.
The defense is recognizing when shared identity is being used to override your critical thinking. Lesson 8. Click and run. Cialdini explains that most of these weapons work on autopilot. Something triggers the click, and your brain runs a pre-programmed response. Authority figure speaks? Click. You trust them? Run. Product almost sold out? Click. You panic? Run. Someone does a favor? Click. You feel obligated? Run. These shortcuts save energy. In most situations, they serve you well. But in a world designed to exploit them, they become vulnerabilities. The most important skill is learning to pause between the click and the run. Pause before you react. Lesson 9. The contrast principle. This one is devastatingly simple and devastatingly effective. When you experience 2 things in sequence, the second feels different depending on what came before it. A real estate agent shows you a terrible overpriced house first. Then they show you the one they actually want you to buy. Suddenly, that second house looks amazing, even if it is still overpriced. Car dealers use this after you agree to buy. Once you have committed to a $40,000 car, a $200 floor mat upgrade feels like nothing. You would never pay that much walking in off the street. But relative to $40,000, your brain says, sure. Always evaluate offers on their own merit, not compared to whatever was presented first. Lesson 10. How to defend yourself. This is the most important lesson in the entire book. Cialdini did not write Influence just to teach you persuasion. He wrote it to teach you protection. Every day you face hundreds of persuasion attempts. Ads, emails, social media, negotiations. The defense is not paranoia. The defense is awareness. When you feel a sudden urge to buy, pause and ask, am I responding to the product or to a persuasion trigger? When someone does an unsolicited favor then asks for something bigger, recognize the reciprocity trap. When the crowd moves and you feel pressure to follow, question whether they actually know better. The moment you can name the weapon being used on you is the moment it loses its power. You stop being the target. You become the observer. So here is the real takeaway. The world is not random. People do not just magically agree to things. There is a science to why you say yes, and once you understand it, you hold the power. Use these principles ethically to become a better communicator and negotiator, or simply use them as a shield to stop being manipulated. Either way, ignorance is no longer an option. Because whether you have read this book or not, these 7 weapons are being used on you right now. The only question is whether you see them coming. If this video opened your eyes, hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to get 1% better every video. Drop a comment telling me which of the 7 weapons shocked you the most. And I will see you in the next one.